Ladies and gentlemen, I have just spent hours and hours and hours crunching numbers and compiling them into a spreadsheet here for you regarding armor break in Path of Exile 2. Long story short, I don't know if it's bugged, and I also don't know if it's working as intended. Given the data here, I have a very small sample size, so it's hard to really come to a conclusion here. I need you guys' help. You guys understand math, statistics, all that stuff, and understand just Path of Exile in general. Long story short, I got a comment on my build overview video for the Warbringer Armor Break build that I'm doing by Mr. Druga Strana Madalu. I apologize if I just butchered your name entirely, my good sir. And he said, I believe the node, which is the Armor Break Imploding Impacts node from the Warbringer Ascendancy, which says you can invert armor when you break it, he believes that node is not working at all. And the testing that he did is he simply went to Doriani, which is the Act 3 final boss, on Cruel difficulty. So right before you finish the campaign, the final thing you do is kill Doriani. He went to Cruel Doriani, Phase 2, the big walker, spider mecha thingy, and he simply auto-attacked him with Mace Strike under different conditions until Doriani was heavy stunned, and then he recorded the damage that he did. I did the same thing. I also made sure I had no rage, so when you hit a target and you gain rage, you gain more damage, so removed that. I removed the % increased damage against enemies with broken armor's passive nodes. I also spec'd into Resolute Technique, so I made sure that I wasn't critting for extra bonus damage occasionally, but I accidentally forgot to remove a ring, which gave me lightning damage. You can see on my character sheet here, these are my stats at the exact time, and by the way, there are both links to the spreadsheet, obviously, and then this stream here where I did all the testing, so you see the footage for yourself. Links in the description below for all this stuff. But you can see here that my main hand physical damage is not quite 8,008.7. It says that's my average damage per use. Unfortunately, that factors in the 25 to 318 lightning damage. Oops. Now, I've tried my best here in the spreadsheet to mitigate that with all the numbers. But before I explain the numbers, all you need to know is that if an enemy has armor, they're reducing the amount of physical damage that they take, right? However, how the armor formula works in at least Path of Exile 1, we don't know what the formula is here in Path of Exile 2 just yet. How it works in Path of Exile 1 is that the larger the hit, the less impactful the armor is. So, as per the Path of Exile 1 wiki, you can just look at these rule of thumbs right here. If you want to prevent 1/3 of the incoming damage via armor, you need 2.5 times the damage number as your armor value. To prevent half of the damage, you need 5 times the damage value. 2/3 is 10 times the value, etc., etc. So basically, you just need a lot more armor, exponentially more armor compared to the incoming hit in order to mitigate a good portion of it. So what this means is that Doriani has exactly 7,624 armor. This is easily calculated by using the Warbringer Ascendancy node, which inverts the enemy armor. You can see, you can't really see here, but you can go watch the VOD. I promise it's 7,624, which is equivalent to a 17% damage reduction for my physical hit, which is 7,412. Remember, that's using this sheet right here, calculating the main hand physical damage from Mace Strike with those support gems. The average is 7,412. So given this hit, this is the expected damage reduction from Doriani. And you can see here, I've reflected this in the projected values. Now, given these 3 tests that I did against Doriani, which again, no rage, no broken armor damage nodes, no crits, and then test 1 was no imploding impact, so I spec'd out of the Warbringer node, which inverts armor, and this is also with no splinter support. That's just a support gem that lets you break more armor per hit, theoretically letting you deal more damage to the enemy faster, right? And then test 2 was using imploding impacts, but still no splinter support. And then test 3 was using both the inverted armor and splinter support. Given all of this stuff, the final values right here, the projected amount of damage increase is again about 17%. In reality, in test 2, which inverted the armor but was not using splinter support, it was about a 9.5% damage increase. And in test 3, using both splinter support and the Warbringer Ascendancy, it was about an 11% damage increase. Again, compared to 17%, these are quite low. However, again, you guys that understand math and statistics, I have my sample size of 2. Given each test, I only have a sample size of 1. Is that really telling us anything? I don't know. Now, the amount of hits required to heavy stun Doriani was actually the exact same in each of the tests, which I find very odd. So, I don't know what to make of this data. I just see these numbers and they're not lining up. The variance here is way too high, but that might simply be because my sample size is just way too small. Again, links in the description below to this spreadsheet and to my stream where you can see all of the test footage in real time for yourself. And in conclusion, I am still going to be playing the Warbringer. I'm not respeccing. The build is still totally fine. If anything, we're just going to get more damage on the tankier enemies, which that's kind of what you want in the first place, right? So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, progressing the build and testing things out. I just spec'd in a Giant's Blood, by the way, using two-handed mace with the shield. It feels very, very, very satisfying. I'll get a full build guide out for the Warbringer Armor Break at some point. I just don't know what's going on with Armor Break as a mechanic, and I need some help figuring it out. If you want to see my general outline for the build, there's also a link to the Mobalytics page for that. Otherwise, you can check out my stream at twitch.tv/WoolieGaming, and I will see you guys in the next video.